Nestled next to a horse farm in northeast Maryland,
This is one of the early towns of Harford County.
a two-story schoolhouse sits just off Castleton Road.
We are near the Susquehanna River.
Inside, a time capsule.
You come in here, you're transformed back in time.
Back to the 1860s, back to Reconstruction.
It's still standing, still strong.
Hosanna School was built as a Freedmen's Bureau schoolhouse, the first of 4 in Harford County.
Parents would attend school with the students, and perhaps grandparents who attended school with their children. Imagine going to school with your mom and dad. We wouldn't think of that today.
Education, once denied,
So you step in here, you step back in time.
now within reach.
You cannot tell American history without all these nuances.
Photos of its final teachers are featured at the front of the class.
I mean, they were way more than just teachers.
Hosanna closed in the 1940s.
So this is the second floor schoolhouse, schoolroom.
Yes.
It serves the community now as a museum and event space, housing historic reminders and relics of the decades of separate, unequal schools.
Another Freedmen's Bureau schoolhouse, the McComas Institute in Joppa, was also built in 1867. Hosanna Community House purchased it in 2017 to save it from tax sale and preserve it. And similar efforts are underway at other African-American schoolhouses across the state.
I remember this room being the first grade when I started out in school.
Charles Givens recalls when he was 6 years old. It was 1951 at Elkton Colored School.
The teacher's desk was basically in the middle of this room.
Givens is now an Elkton Town Commissioner and part of the years-long effort to turn his old segregated schoolhouse from eyesore to attraction.
That's what we hope this school, this museum, the cultural center becomes, a tourist attraction.
Just because it looks broke today doesn't mean that it will stay broke.
Cecil County sold the property to the town in 2020 for a hefty sum.
For $1.
$1 to jumpstart what will likely be a 6-year process to turn this old Julius Rosenwald school into a museum as well.
There's a lot of people in Elkton right now that doesn't even know that this school even existed. There's a lot of people in Elkton didn't know that this was an all-black school.
The building is truly an artifact.
Morgan State professor and project architect Dale Green says the many layers of the building will inform the restoration process.
Seeking to preserve this place really sends a signal to the community that this place mattered and that this place still matters.
Maryland had, at one point, more than 150 so-called Rosenwald schools, named after the philanthropist Julius Rosenwald, built in partnership with Booker T. Washington. There were more than 5,000 throughout the American South during the Jim Crow era. Many schools were shuttered or demolished after the Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court ruling in 1954.
This was a forgotten school. It was a forgotten project.
Forgotten no longer.
This school initially started with 560 square feet of space.
The now 15,000 square foot facility will soon shine light on a once dark time.
Just because we experienced a dark day in our history doesn't mean that we need to stay there. And so it's important that we share that history.
Green says once complete, visitors will hear from those who attended Elkton Colored School. There are at least 5 who still attend a church nearby.
Their oral histories will help us to understand what happened in each of the spaces in the building.
There's a story right there that needs to be told. You know, we came here, we were educated, we didn't have the best education, but for a few of us and many of us, we were able to take what little we had and go out in life and make something of ourselves.
Back at Hosanna, a symbol of what Elkton Colored School can be in a few years.
This is how it was all over the country. It's such an important story to tell.
Hurricane Hazel had ripped off its roof in the 1950s. It took decades to revive this remnant of a racist past.
Make sure you bring your children so they can learn this history. It's so important for the understanding of American history and who we are today.
In Harford County, Paul Gessler for WJZ.